and they played so much better than we did. You know, we could never really get a rhythm tonight.
How did you think of Shaden in his first game back?
Yeah, I thought Shaden played really well. You know, he looked comfortable. It looked very normal to him. You know, I was worried that he would, that he would be a little antsy, and kind of do some things like just because he was just getting back that would be uncharacteristic of him, but he never did that. He looked great. You know, I thought his shot selection was good for the most part. Defensively, I thought he was sound. A couple possessions, he fell asleep on the weak side. But I don't think that has anything to do with being out. I mean, our guys that haven't been out are doing the same thing. So I thought Shaden played well, though. I was really happy and really happy to have him back.
4-13 from the field from Wembanyama. How do you feel like you guys were able to defend him tonight?
I thought we did a good job on him. I really did. We switched up who was guarding him. We did a few things, but I thought we did a really good job on him. But, you know, he's the kind of player that even if you do a good job on him, he'll try to make the proper pass. You know, he's not going to just shoot because you did a good job on him. But I thought Jeremy really guarded him well. I thought Tu did a good job on him, DA, when he had his chances. So, yeah, I thought we were sound there.
Shaden Sharp.
All right, big thanks to Chauncey Billups. There's his thoughts after the Spurs 118-105 victory tonight at Frost Bank Center in San Antonio. Fans, make sure you download the McDonald's app today to score deals on your favorite menu items. Earn points with every purchase and redeem for free food on your next visit. Order ahead to save time or order McDelivery right to your door. Professional bull riders are back for 2 events at Moda Center on January 3rd and 4th. Prepare for heart-pounding action, thrilling riders, and adrenaline-pumping moments. Get your tickets now at rosequarter.com. I'm sorry to say that myself and the Captain Rich Patterson will not be participating in the Bull Riders events. All right, let's take a look at the game flow tonight. The Trailblazers opened up with a 15-13 lead midway through the first. DeAndre Ayton with 9 points in 6 minutes. It was a great start for Portland. San Antonio responded with a 6-1 run, taking a 19-16 lead with 3:32 remaining in the first. San Antonio pushed their first quarter run to 20-7, taking a double-digit lead at 33-22 with less than a minute to play following a 3 from Victor Wembanyama. The Trailblazers scored the final 5 points of the period and trailed 33-27 heading into the second. In the first, Ayton led Portland with 9. Stephon Castle had 6 points and 3 assists. The Spurs shot a whopping 68% in the opening quarter, and Portland was just 2 of 10 from downtown. That was a developing theme for the game. In the second, the Blazers pulled it within 3 at 42-39, but a Spurs 8-2 run pushed their lead to 9 at 50-41. There was a timeout with 5:19 to play in the half. And with the Spurs leading 54-45, Portland ripped off 9 straight to tie the game at 54 with just over a minute remaining in the half. San Antonio would take a 56-55 lead into the locker room. The Spurs, in the first half, 18 assists on 23 made field goals. They shot 59%. In the third, after the 2 teams traded baskets to start the quarter, 5 straight San Antonio points pushed their lead to 9 at 76-67 with 4:30 remaining in the third. After the Blazers had cut the Spurs lead to 5, San Antonio ended the quarter on a 15-8 run, taking a 91-79 lead into the fourth. At the end of 3, the Spurs were shooting 59% from the field and 48% from downtown, had 29 assists and 20 points off of turnovers. In the fourth, the Blazers raced out with a 9-2 run, cutting the deficit to 5 at 93-88 with 9:06 remaining. Sharp had 4 points during that spurt. The Spurs responded with a 15-7 run, finished off on a Stephon Castle dunk. 108-95 San Antonio at that point with just over 5 minutes remaining. Largest lead of the game for the Spurs, and Portland never threatened after that. Checking the box score tonight for both teams, the San Antonio Spurs were led by 2 guys, not Victor Wembanyama, but the unknown guys. Malachi Branham had 17 points on 6 of 8 shooting. He also chipped in with 3 assists. And elsewhere, they got Keldon Johnson, double-double tonight with 17 points and 11 rebounds. But for the Spurs tonight, it was terrific offense in the face of poor Trailblazers defense. 53% shooting from the floor. They connected on 16 of 39 from downtown, good for 41%. And even more impressively was the ball movement tonight, 35 assists for the San Antonio Spurs. For the Portland Trailblazers tonight, multiple guys were able to step up and have good offensive nights. 21 points for Jeremy Grant. He was 6 of 10 shooting. They also got 21 from DeAndre Ayton. Another double-double for him. He pulled down 10 rebounds. He was 10 of 15 from the floor in 31 minutes of action. Anthony Simons tonight, 3 of 9 from downtown, 7 of 16 from the floor, 19 points in 33 minutes of action. And one of the bright spots tonight, how about the return of Shaedon Sharpe in 20 minutes, scored 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting, and he was 1 of 4 from downtown. The Blazers tonight shot 47% from the field, and that brings us to it's time for a little threes for trees, my friends. For every 3-pointer the Trailblazers make this season, Daimler Truck and Friends of Trees will plant 3 trees. Let's take a look at tonight's threes for trees summary brought to you by Daimler Truck North America. The Trailblazers tonight, just 9 of 32 from downtown, good for 28%. That's good for 27 trees. And that was your threes for trees summary presented by Daimler Truck North America. Final score tonight from Frost Bank Center in San Antonio. The Spurs over your Trailblazers, 118-105. When we return on the McDonald's postgame show, we're going to take a listen to the second half highlights here on the Trailblazers Audio Network.
We all want more experiences, space for the things that matter the most. Skip the ordinary and take a detour to the extraordinary. There's so much more to discover. Start your next adventure in America's all-time best-selling SUV. The new, well, you know what it is. It's all in the name. The new 2025 Ford Explorer SUV, built Ford proud.
Based on S&P Global Mobility 1946 to current U.S. total new cumulative registrations for all vehicles identified as SUVs.
Right now at Les Schwab, it's the deal you've been waiting for. The Score More sales event. Save up to $160 instantly on a wide selection of 4 tires and 4 wheels. Plus, every tire is covered by America's best tire warranty. 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. Just one more way, you'll get more from less. Stop by the store or find your tires at leschwab.com. Limited time offer while supplies last. See leschwab.com/sale for details.
Hey, Rip City families. Have you heard about the Rip City Kids Club presented by Nike? Sign up today and unlock some amazing benefits for your young Blazers fans. Enjoy discounts to games and rose quarter shows. Redeem points for sweet prizes and gain access to exclusive events, all for free. Don't miss out on the fun. Sign up now at ripcitykidsclub.com and give your kids an unforgettable experience. That's ripcitykidsclub.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hey, can my Wi-Fi handle a big birthday party for my daughter?
Well, at Xfinity, we built our gateways to handle hundreds of devices at once. So, bring on the party.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through December 31st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Switch today. Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless plan on a post-start bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Kane Brown, the High Road Tour. March 20th, Motus Center. Special guests, Mitchell Tenpenny and Dasha. Crossover superstar Kane Brown Live.
Yeah, let's go put some miles
on sale now at KaneBrownMusic.com.
We can break it in if you know what I mean. Put some miles on it.
You're listening to the Trailblazers postgame show on the Trailblazers Audio Network.
You are the sixth man, and Motor Center is our house. Join the best fans in the NBA for the biggest games all season long. The next home game, the Blazers will take on Memphis this Sunday, November 10th at 6 o'clock. For official Trailblazers tickets, always visit trailblazers.com. All right, let's take a look at tonight's second half highlights. They're brought to you by McDonald's. Your locally owned and operated McDonald's are proud supporters of the Trailblazers. Make sure you download the McDonald's app right now. All right, in the second half, the Trailblazers able to get off to a quick start thanks to Jeremy Grant.
The lob underneath, deflected a couple of times, knocked free. Simons has it, ups it to Grant on the fast break. Snaps through, right hand. Yes, we're tied at 59. Jeremy Grant with 14.
That's terrific. Jeremy Grant with a big night tonight. Some much-needed offense for the Portland Trailblazers. Next up, we mentioned Shaedon Sharpe making his return, his season debut, and he played very well. Take a listen.
Wembanyama working against Jeremy Grant at the elbow, stripped out of his hands by Scoot. Henderson will bring it up with some pace. He drives to the rim and no good, but Sharp is there for the putback slam. We have missed that in Rip City.
That led to a little charge for Portland where they were able to cut the Spurs lead to 5 at 93-88, and Sharp was a big part of that. But in the end, it was just too much San Antonio tonight.
Wembanyama with the rebound, up to Castle. Back to Wembanyama, catch and shoot 3. Good. Human beings who are 7'3" should not be able to do that. 99-88.
The Spurs able to use a 15-7 run in the fourth, which essentially put the game away. Portland never able to threaten after that point. Your final score tonight, 118-105, the Spurs over the Trailblazers at Frost Bank Center in San Antonio. Our next broadcast is going to come up tomorrow night. The Portland Trailblazers now will travel to Minnesota to get ready for a battle against the Timberwolves. Tip-off will be at 6 o'clock. I'll have the pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network starting at 5. Be sure to stay tuned to our flagship station here in Portland, 620 Rip City Radio. We're coming up in just a couple of moments. It'll be the 5th quarter. Your final score tonight from Frost Bank Center in San Antonio, the Spurs over the Trailblazers by a final score of 118-105. For the captain, Rich Patterson, I am Chad Doing. We appreciate your time tonight. Sleep well, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Trailblazers postgame.
Malachi Branham has been terrific tonight for San Antonio. His third made 3 of the game. The Spurs lead by 11, matching their largest total of the night. Grant has the ball with Wesley on his back. She's tripped up. He gets it back. He's fouled. Throws up a prayer. It was no good. And Grant will go to the line. There have been some times tonight where this game has gotten very, very physical. Not out of control physical, but definitely on the physical end of this generation of basketball.
Boy, nice work, Shacker. Very nice work. I know what you're doing right now, and I like it a lot, my friend. What's going on? 5th quarter. It's great to be back in my normal seat and to get a chance to talk with you, where tonight the Spurs topped the Trailblazers by a final score of 118-105. And the efforts to make this the 24/7 Chad News Network is well underway. I'm sitting right now in Studio C at Moda Center, and tonight I was pulling double duty, so as soon as my Trailblazer postgame show ended, I took one set of headphones off, and I reached over the table, put another set of headphones on, and here I am for the 5th quarter. So if you want to jump on board and talk a little basketball with me, your telephone number is 503. It's 248-0620, 503-248-0620. That is your telephone number. And really, whatever you want to talk about is fine by me. If you want to comment on Shaedon Sharp's return from the labral tear, he made his season debut tonight, which was nice, and I thought he played pretty darn good basketball. I wasn't expecting much, and so for him to get the action that he did, I thought it was pretty solid. Played 20 minutes tonight, 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting. If you want to talk about the Blazers' defensive issues, you can share your thoughts on that. Anything else that you saw throughout the course of the game, that would be fine. The weird part about tonight, going into the game, and I talked with Michael Holden prior, I was concerned about the pick-and-roll situation with Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama, but it wasn't Wemby that did the damage tonight. He played well, but he wasn't the big difference maker. It was everyone else who was able to step up and do it for the Spurs. Keldon Johnson had 17 points and 11 rebounds, and then they got 17 points, 3 assists on 6 of 8 shooting from Malachi Branham. Really, if you want to break this loss down into 3 categories, it was very simple. Number one, poor Portland defense, poor initial guarding position, which led to freedom of movement. And the Spurs were able to pass and move freely within the offense. So very few of their shots were heavily contested tonight, and that resulted in a great shooting percentage where they dominated from the field and from downtown. And you just can't have that happen if you're Portland. They need everything to start with the defense, and tonight they just didn't have it. Elsewhere, San Antonio able to take advantage of Portland's turnovers. They got 20 points off of 14 turnovers, and then outside of that, it was the three-point shooting. The Spurs, a season best tonight. They connected on 16 of 39 from downtown. They were plus 21 behind the three-point line as the Trailblazers just 9 of 32. And the three-point shooting is going to be a regular issue for Portland throughout the year because they don't really have the guys who can step up and knock down those shots, and that's really going to be a problem. So those are the areas: three-point shooting, points off turnovers, but most importantly the defense, which allowed San Antonio to do what they want. In fact, I jotted it down, an absurd number. I think they had 29 assists at the end of 3 quarters, and they were shooting at like 59%. If you're giving up 59% shooting and you have given up 29 assists in a short period of time, if you're going into the fourth and that's what the team you're playing has, it's going to be an issue. But that's okay because this team right now is going through a process of development. It's the youngest roster in the NBA, and they're getting guys who have been out back in the lineup. Once again, we did not see Robert Williams III, but I do think he's going to play tomorrow, especially in the second of a back-to-back. Shaedon Sharpe came back into the lineup tonight, but it's going to be a matter of the coaching staff continuing to work with these guys on details, right? Initial guarding position, better communication on defense, rebounding, being more focused, all the things that Chauncey Billups talks about. And, that's what you get with the young basketball team. And, as I've mentioned multiple times, the goals in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. Talent acquisition, number one, and then player development, number two, with, the players that they have. They're trying to take their roster, especially with the young guys, give them playing time so they can continue to gather data on the players that they have so that they can go through and be able to identify the guys who are going to be a part of the core. That's really what it's going to be all about. But the Trailblazers tonight, just not enough defense. The Spurs able to hit them every which way, and they got everything they wanted. It was too easy. Or as Michael Holton told me, it's like walking into the buffet line with an empty plate, a clean plate. You can have whatever you want, and you just continue to grab and put different things on the plate, and that's what the way it was for the Spurs tonight. It was just too easy with the movement, the freedom of movement, and they're able to execute and get the job done. And that's really what it came down to. And the Spurs get the victory 118-105. And now Portland, no time to rest. They're going to jump on a plane. They'll get in late into Minneapolis, and they're going to take on the Timberwolves tomorrow, another tough road game. That will finish out the 4-game road trip. Tip-off tomorrow will be at 6 o'clock. But Shaedon Sharpe, I thought he moved pretty well. His shot looked pretty good. He, was able to make a contribution tonight. And it was pretty exciting because before the game we got word from Chauncey Billups that he, in fact, would be available. And he couldn't see any way that he was not going to be able to play him. And I think he's going to be on a minutes restriction to begin with as he gets back onto the floor and continues to work himself back into playing shape. So he'll be on a minutes restriction. But this is really a good thing for Portland. Last year it was a complete disruption with injuries and guys who were in and out of the lineup. It was a recurring theme, and it was exhausting. And the problem is that when you have those type of injuries, you can't get the players on the floor that you need to be able to get the data that I was talking about. But now with the return of Sharpe, you can have situations where you get him and Scoot on the floor together. The Robert Williams III is going to be back. It's a great opportunity for him to get on the floor and show that he's healthy. There might be other teams around the league taking a look at Williams and wondering if maybe they could utilize him down later in the season for the stretch run. So there's going to be some good opportunities here. And for Chauncey Billups, the biggest problem is just having access to more players and more options than what he's accustomed to. So it'll be interesting to see how he continues to manage the lineup, or at least the rotation. The starting lineup is pretty well set. Simons, Tamani Kamara, Jeremy Grant, Denny Ave, and DeAndre Ayton. The Blazers this year have had the same starting five for every single game. It seems like it's an impossibility based on what they went through last year, but I like the fact that those five guys have had a chance to play and have been able to be in a position to develop some continuity. I've been impressed this year so far with Tamani Kamara. He didn't shoot the ball well tonight, 0 of 3 from downtown, but he's a willing defender. He's really long, and he's showing some improvements on offense in terms of the three-point shot, being able to put the ball on the floor and attack. I like what I see there. Denny Avia tonight, 9 points in 24 minutes, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He's a guy who can do a little bit of everything, but with each passing game, you can see him getting a little more comfortable with the situation, the teammates around him, and all that's going on. So I know that he's going to be a good contributor for them, especially as he continues to carve out his role and understanding of where he needs to be and what he needs to do. So very excited about that. And then with the veterans, Jeremy Grant, he played well tonight. Anthony Simons has not shot the ball as well as he would like early in the season, but he's been a lot smoother in operation over the last couple of games. And then, of course, you've got DeAndre Ayton, who's continuing to play good basketball. And he's really picked up right where he left off at the end of last year. He had a double-double tonight, 10 of 15 from the floor, 21 points, 10 rebounds, and he played 30 minutes. Off the bench, Scoot Henderson, 11 points and 3 assists to go along with 3 rebounds. He had just 2 turnovers in the game, but missed a couple of easy shots. So for him, it's just a matter of continuing to work and grind and be a better finisher. You've got to make those shots. You've got to cash in when you get into the paint. The good thing is, he's so good at breaking down the initial defender off the bounce. Now it's just a matter of him continuing to make good decisions on how to elevate, how to anticipate contact, and what pathway he wants to take so he can put himself in the best possible position to finish. He's got to make shots. He's got to shoot a higher percentage. But I like him coming off the bench. It takes some pressure off of him. He's not going up against the opposing team's first string guards, which gives him a better chance to have success. And most importantly, I think for him, is he can be the primary ball handler and facilitator, which gives him a certain level of comfort. So that's where we're at. That's how things shook out tonight in San Antonio. Spurs get the win. And as I mentioned before, defense not sharp. Points off turnovers proved to be critical. And the difference at the three-point line where the Spurs were dominant tonight, a season best 41% from downtown. Your telephone number is 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. That is the telephone number. If you want to jump on board, you can do so. We'll keep things rolling here in the fifth quarter, where the Spurs tonight at Frost Bank Center in San Antonio get the victory over the Blazers 118-105. 503-248-0620. Chad doing fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio, presented by Coors Light.
Scoot gives it up to Klingon, hands it off to Shaden Sharp. He attacks, pulls up, jumper on the way, is good. And it's good to see Shaden Sharp put the ball through the net. His first points of the year. Wembanyama working against Jeremy Grant at the elbow, stripped out of his hands by Scoot. Henderson will bring it up with some pace. He drives to the rim and no good, but Sharp is there for the putback slam. We have missed that in Rip City.
All right, fifth quarter, Chad Doing, where the Spurs top the Trailblazers by a final score of 118-105. Shaden Sharp made his season debut coming off the labral tear. 20 minutes of action, 13 points, and he connected on 6 of 9 from the floor. And it was nice to see him back. He played more and looked better than what I anticipated, so it's going to be great to have him in a position to where he can get regular minutes now, that he doesn't have to worry about rehab. And same goes with Robert Williams III. The only guy now that's unavailable is Matisse Thybulle, who continues with that right knee maintenance, whatever the heck that means, but he's not too far from a return, so the Blazers at least have a full complement of players, something that Chauncey Billups is not really accustomed to. So that should be fun to watch. And the Trailblazers, I mean, they've got a busy, busy stretch coming up with where they sit right now. Real quick, I want to give you an update on what's going on around the association. Only 3 games tonight. Timberwolves over the Bulls in Chicago, 135-119. Ant Edwards had 33 points, 8 boards, and 6 assists. The Bucks top the Jazz in Milwaukee, 123-100. Damian Lillard, 34 points, 7 assists, and 4 steals. And then the Spurs over the Trailblazers, 118-105. Keep in mind, the Timberwolves and Trailblazers meet tomorrow night in Minneapolis. Tip-off will be at 6. Right now, Thursday night football, and it's a darn good one. After building a 21-7 lead, the Baltimore Ravens have come all the way back. It's a tie game now at 28 with 5:37 to play in the game in Baltimore. Cincinnati has just evened up the game. 390 yards passing with 3 touchdowns for Joe Burrow, and Derrick Henry with 13 carries, 53 yards, and a score. And that's what's going on around the sports world. Your telephone number here on the fifth quarter is 503-248-0620. If you want to jump on board and share your thoughts, you can do so. To recap real quick, the biggest issues for Portland tonight, number one, was defense. And that effort defensively cannot be something that Chauncey Billups is thrilled with, because early on it became apparent that the Trailblazers just weren't in sync defensively. And this comes down to a number of different things. One, young team. 2, guys not communicating the way that they should. But most importantly, the initial guarding position just being off. And the Spurs were able to get the ball. They were able to move it, pass it. And they just got too many easy looks, too many open looks, uncontested. And when you get these guys or NBA players in a position where they can shoot in rhythm, you're going to have problems. And that's exactly what happened tonight. They were shooting 59% at the end of 3. And they shot 41% from downtown. And they had 35 assists in the game. So I just thought that overall, throughout the course of the game, it just came too easy for San Antonio. Not enough resistance from Portland, not enough aggressiveness defensively. And I'm hoping that, after a quick chat with the team, that when the Blazers show up in Minneapolis, they get ready for that game tomorrow, that we'll see a better defensive effort. The way that Chauncey Billups wants them to play, and he's talked about it a lot so far in the early part of the season, is he wants them to play, one, he wants them to rebound and be focused on that, because they want to play at pace. They want to get out, they want to run, and they want to push the tempo. And one of the best ways to do that is by playing good defense. And then with the good defense, you can create opportunities for yourself by forcing turnovers so you can get out in transition and play at the speed that Chauncey Billups wants. That's what it's all about. Let's go out to the phones, 503-248-0620. Tall Tim is out there somewhere. Tall Tim, what's up, my brother? Tall Tim.
Say this year.
What's going on, buddy? It's good to talk to you.
Yes. I figured I'd let the brew a little bit before I figured out what the hell we're doing this year. It looks good. I'm going to say so far, I'm going to say it looks good. I think there's a lot of positive things. Obviously, we can't play a full game without some beaker over bubbling and running onto the floor. But I think the defense is better. I think that with Denny, that's been a huge improvement just in all areas. I think he'll get his shot around because everybody's kind of down so far shooting, so it's just him. I like Ayton's more aggressive stance this year. I think that guy's a weapon that we're just beginning to figure out how to exploit. Scoot seems under control sometimes, other times not quite so sure. I think part of it now that he's coming up the bench, he's trying to figure out how to be impactful without being a wrecking ball. So that's a thing. I like Simon's overall approach this year. I think he's trying to do more than just score. He's getting some good assists. A little bit of in front of his man. I mean, that's still good. And then we just starting to see what Sharp can do. And again, Kamara, you just almost take him for granted now, which is very odd for a young player. You're just like, oh, yeah, that guy can do this, he can do that. So, I mean, there's a lot of positive signs, but I will say against this team, San Antonio, I think we took the right approach tonight. Anybody that has a chance of getting a better lottery card than we have, let's just let them win the game. So we did perfect tonight. And that's what we want to do. Teams that we have no chance against, go ahead and let's try to, get a game there. But this has been pretty fun so far, and I would think we're right at the best we can expect early from the team. So, I mean, what do we got to complain so far about?
Oh, I agree. There's not much to complain about. And Tim, it's great to hear from you. I appreciate the call. There's not much to complain about. The Blazers are young. The most important thing right now is talent acquisition and player development. And we've seen some very bright spots for a number of young players, whether it be Ryan Rupert or Tamani Kamara or Delano Banton. We've had some of the young guys. Scoots had a couple of moments. We're seeing some progress, and now it's just a matter of them continuing to get minutes. And now that we have more players back, the continuity of these guys being able to go into each game knowing that they're going to play, or what their role is going to be, that will be more defined with time. But with that, we'll be able to see hopefully improvement, and hopefully the front office will get a better idea of the guys that are going to be truly a part of this core moving forward. Let's go back out to the phones. Victor in Turkey. Long time no chat, my brother. What's going on?
Hi, thank you. Thank you for your time again. There are several things about the Blazer. One is if you're a real fan, like if you're a compassionate fan, or you could be just a casual fan, that's a difference. If you're a really compassionate fan like me, the winning is a major thing. The analysis, the business aspect of it is so complicated. The business or the analysis of the game, after each game we can analyze, somebody did good, somebody do this and that, and somebody is improving. But that doesn't bring the winning aspect of it. The prediction, if somebody wants to make a prediction, like maybe yourself or another analyst, the next 5 years, not the next 2 years, but I'm going to make a prediction that the Trailblazers, even they cannot make a playoff. And that's going to cool up a lot of fans, of course. So there's a lot of psychology behind it. And also, you have to know the complexity of the American system, like when they go to a real war, like a battles, like a real war in the, overseas or whatever, they have very complex scenario. And they make sure that the America, when they enter the war, like World War II, they're going to win the war. As you see, they never lost the war. So far, in America, they never lost the war. So that means they're very complex. But in basketball, it's very different. In basketball, we cannot be too complex. And that's what's happening now. You see, the Anthony Simon right now, he's a more passive. His three-pointers, like, is way off the chart. I mean, it's not good at all. You know, when he started, Anthony Simon, 3 years ago, you know yourself, the Anthony Simon was like a 50% from three-pointer, like the Warriors, Warriors superstar. He was that type. But right now he's more passive. What happened to him? Because the coaches they changed their strategy. They bring Sharpe, they bring that guy. That didn't bring any winning games, and it's not going to do any changes. I think my strategy, my belief, if the coaches they make 70 or 80% of the shots made by the Anthony Simon and Benton, Donaldo Benton, that the other good shooter, 70 or 80% of the shots made it, these two guys, they're going to win the games. But if they're going to, distribute the guy to this guy, that guy, to, the center, or we have, Ayton or something, they might have a really good game. Of course, and Ayton has a very good game, 21 points. But that doesn't bring the winning game, because they are making very complicated. They make the game, the basketball game, very complicated. The simple thing to win, those two shooting guards, very good shooting guards, Simon and the Benton. If they make 70 or 80% of the shots, and don't forget about the others. They are very good players, but they are not going to make the games win. So what I'm saying is, we have to make the life easy. That's not going to happen. Chad. That's not going to happen, because the way the basketball, started in America is always the same. If you go 50 years ago, they're always the same. I mean, you have to bring that guy. You have to change this guy. You have to do this. You have to pass to the center. You have to do this, that. If the Blazers, they had three superstars, like the biggest player in the NBA. If they have three superstars, they're going to win the game. That's obvious. But because they don't have three superstars, and they have very good two good shooting two good point guards right now, they have to depend on them. So that means the answer is very clear. If the way they play now, they're not gonna make a playoffs. I mean, that's obvious. I can even tell you later. But the way they are playing now, it's going to be up and down. They are not going to win it. They're not going to do any changes. But the other players, they're going to improve and improve. But as I said, for the compassionate fans, if the Blazer wants to win and not worry about the losing, that's okay. I mean, they can enjoy the game whether you lose or lose. But for the analysis, I don't know how important for the analysis are that the Blazers win or lose, because the analysis, their job to analyze it, their job is to analyze the game, not worry about the Blazers is going to win. If they don't win, then they're going to have a bad night. For me, I'm a compassionate guy, so if the Blazers losing and they don't make a playoffs, I'm going to turn off my passion. So I don't know. What's your opinion?
Well, I'll tell you, and I appreciate the call, Victor. It's great to hear your voice. On a side note, you should be happy to know that your boy Anthony Simons is now number 4 on the all-time Trailblazers list in threes. He surpassed Terry Porter. So, see, Ant's making a move up. That's good for you. I think Anthony Simons, he hasn't been his normal, usual self, struggling a bit from the field to start the year, but I think that's just a case of having a new role as the primary ball handler and facilitator, so he's adapting to that, and he's getting used to new teammates. But Anthony Simons is a proven commodity in the NBA. We know what he can do with his offense and how he can make shots, so he's going to be fine moving forward. But in regards to the postseason, the Trailblazers are not going to make the playoffs this year. But that's okay. That's not really their focus of their plan. You got to remember, Victor, the top priorities for this season, and I know you don't want to hear it, but it's talent acquisition and player development. Those are the most important things. Continuing to acquire talent, which could come in the form draft picks or young assets, young players like a Tamani Kamara or Denny Avdia. And then from there, you develop the young guys that you have, and they have to get the data necessary to know which of these young players will be a part of the core moving forward. And then with that talent acquisition, you can look at some of the veterans on the roster who are not going to be here long term or are not what you consider a part of your core, and then you can look at what deals are available out there. But that's the main priority this year, to put yourself in a position to acquire more talent in the upcoming draft, which is going to be rich in big-time players. And then after this season and cycle, they can move into next year, hopefully with their core, knowing what that is, and then start the pathway back up. All right, we'll come back on fifth quarter. Trailblazers fall tonight at Frost Bank Center in San Antonio, 118-105. Shaedon Sharpe made his return, 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting. And now they're back at it tomorrow night. They'll take on the Timberwolves, tip-off at 6 with game day starting at 5. Here on 620 Rip City Radio, your home of the Portland Trailblazers, presented by Coors Light.
Simons with 4 to play. Dribbles right, steps back, 3 on the way. Buries it with 0.6 of a second to play.
All right, Trailblazers fall at Frostbank Center in San Antonio tonight, 118-105. Shaedon Sharpe made his season debut and finished with 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Let's check in with Blazers coach Chauncey Billups after the loss.
They have like 15 for 16 at the rim at halftime. That's really not like us, but their cutting really hurt us, and, they got layups. Anytime you can get layups, they didn't shoot it great from 3 in the first half, but again, they got layups, so that was a little deflating, I thought, for us. And, their bench was just incredible. Their bench was amazing in the game. You got to give them credit for that. And they played so much better than we did. We could never really get a rhythm tonight.
How did you think of Shaedon in his first game back?
Yeah, I thought Shaedon played really well. He looked comfortable. It looked very normal to him. I was worried that he would, that he would be a little antsy, and kind of do some things like just because he was just getting back that would be uncharacteristic of him, but he never did that. He looked great. I thought his shot selection was good for the most part. Defensively, I thought he was sound. A couple possessions, he fell asleep on the weak side. But I don't think that has anything to do with being out. I mean, our guys that haven't been out are doing the same thing. So I thought Shaedon played well, though. I was really happy and really happy to have him back.
4 or 13 from the field from Wembanyama. How do you feel like you guys were able to defend him tonight? I
thought we did a good job on him. I really did. We switched up who was guarding him. We did a few things, but I thought we did a really good job on him. But he's the kind of player that even if you do a good job on him, he'll try to make the proper pass. He's not going to just shoot because you did a good job on him. But I thought Jeremy really guarded him well. I thought Tu did a good job on him. Da when he had his chances. So yeah, I thought we were sound there.
All right, taking a look at game balls, and then I'll share my thoughts on what Chauncey had to say. I've got to give a game ball to Shaedon Sharpe for making his return and battling through rehab. He finished with 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting. And then I'm going to give a game ball to DeAndre Ayton, who's playing really good basketball to kick off the year. Had a double-double tonight, and he provided a lot of offense early for the Blazers when they were struggling to make threes. 21 points and 10 rebounds in 30 minutes on 10 of 15 shooting. A great job by DeAndre Ayton. I mean, you heard Chauncey Billups talk about the defensive issues. The weird part about the game tonight was the fact that it wasn't the names you would expect to hurt the Trailblazers. I think going in, everyone's worried about Victor Wembanyama, and for good reason, because he's, so dynamic. But the Blazers did a really good job on him in regards to limiting his opportunities, 12 points and 8 rebounds. But the problem is with the initial guarding position and the Blazers not being locked in defensively, the Spurs were able to move the ball. They were able to pass it, and they got their guys in good position to get uncontested looks. And you heard Coach Billups talking about the rebounds and, not the rebounds, but the cuts and the easy shots at the rim. Everything was just too easy for the Spurs tonight, and that's, something that Portland can go back to the drawing board and continue to work on with the young guys to continue to preach defense and get those guys in a position to make things happen. But when you get guys like Malachi Branham to have 17 points, he shot a high percentage. They had a very good effort from Keldon Johnson. He's a player I really enjoy watching. Good player, 17 points and 11 rebounds. But the Spurs shot a high percentage from 3. They shot a high percentage from the field. It was just too easy. And so the Blazers got to go back to the drawing board and do a better job of defending. And hopefully we'll see some of that tomorrow night against Minnesota. All right, that's going to do it for the 5th quarter. You can check in with me tomorrow morning on Rip City Morning starting at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow, the Trailblazers back in action taking on the Timberwolves. Game day will be at 4 o'clock. I'll have the Trailblazer pregame show starting at 5 with the tip-off at 6 here on 620 Rip City Radio presented